Picture a world where the ruthless wear crowns, where deceit is a ladder to the top, and where kindness is a forgotten relic buried beneath the rubble of ambition. A world where the cunning thrive and the compassionate are left to scramble for scraps. It's a place where the worst among us, those who lie, cheat, and manipulate, seem to rise effortlessly while the rest of us watch, bewildered, wondering how the game got rigged. Is this dystopia? Or is it a mirror reflecting the hidden logic of our own reality? What if I told you that this isn't just a nightmare? It's the world we live in, and it's been this way for centuries. From the shadows of history to the headlines of today, the same story plays out. The worst people succeed, and the rest of us are left to wonder why. Why do the liars get the podium? Why do the cheats get the glory? And why, in a world that preaches virtue, does vice so often wear the crown? Today, we're diving deep into this question, peeling back the layers of human nature, power, and morality to uncover the hidden logic that governs our world. We'll walk through the mind of Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher who dared to challenge everything we think we know about good and evil. We'll explore the psychology of power, the paradoxes of success, and the uncomfortable truth that sometimes the worst people win because the game was never designed for the virtuous. But don't despair, because by the end of this journey, you'll see that there's a way to navigate this world without losing your soul. You'll learn how to wield power without becoming a monster, how to succeed without selling out, and how to turn the hidden logic of the world to your advantage. So, let's begin with the question that haunts us all. Why do the worst people succeed? To answer this, we need to strip away the illusions we've been fed since childhood. The fairy tales of good triumphing over evil, of honesty being the best policy, of hard work paying off in the end. These stories are comforting, but they're often at odds with the world we see around us. We watch as corrupt politicians climb the ranks, as ruthless CEOs amass fortunes, as influencers build empires on deceit. And we can't help but wonder, is there something wrong with us for not playing the same game? Or is there something wrong with the game itself? This is where Nietzsche comes in, a philosopher whose ideas are as provocative as they are unsettling. Born in 1844, Nietzsche was a man out of time, a thinker who saw through the veneer of society and dared to ask the questions others were too afraid to voice. He argued that traditional morality, ideas of good and evil, right and wrong, was nothing more than a construct, a tool created by the weak to restrain the strong. In his view, the world doesn't operate on fairness or justice, it operates on power. And those who understand this, those who embrace the will to power, are the ones who shape the world to their liking. But what is the will to power? It's not just a thirst for dominance, it's the drive to assert oneself, to create, to overcome. It's the force that pushes us to climb mountains, build empires, and leave our mark on the world. For Nietzsche, this drive is neither good nor evil. It's simply asterisk is asterisk. It's the raw, unfiltered essence of life. And in a world governed by the will to power, those who succeed are often the ones who wield it without hesitation, without the baggage of guilt or shame. Think about it. The politician who lies without flinching, the entrepreneur who cuts corners to outpace the competition, the artist who steals ideas and calls them their own. These are people who have, in some way, embraced the will to power. They've shed the constraints of conventional morality and tapped into a primal force that propels them forward. And while we may despise them for it, we can't deny their success. But here's the catch. Nietzsche didn't just celebrate this ruthless drive. He also warned of its dangers. He saw that the will to power unchecked could lead to destruction, both for the individual and for society. The tyrant who rises to power may bask in glory for a time, but their empire is built on sand. The liar may weave a web of deceit, but eventually the threads unravel. The cheat may win the race, but they're forever looking over their shoulder, waiting for the truth to catch up. This is the paradox at the heart of our question. The worst people succeed, but their success is often brittle, hollow, and short-lived. They win battles, but they rarely win the war. And yet, the game seems to reward them, at least in the short term. Why? To understand this, we need to look beyond philosophy and into the mechanics of human society. Power in its many forms is the currency of success. It's not just about money or status, it's about influence, control, and the ability to shape outcomes. And in a world where resources are finite, where competition is fierce, those who are willing to bend or break the rules often gain an edge. They exploit the trust of others, manipulate systems to their advantage, and operate without the friction of conscience. Consider the concept of the Machiavellian personality, named after Niccolo Machiavelli, the Renaissance thinker who famously argued that the ends justify the means. Machiavellians are strategic, calculating, and unburdened by moral qualms. They see the world as a chessboard and they play to win no matter the cost. Research in psychology shows that people with these traits often rise to positions of power, particularly in competitive environments like business or politics. They're the ones who thrive in the chaos, who see opportunities where others see obstacles. But here's the uncomfortable truth. We all have a bit of the Machiavellian in us. We've all bent the truth to get ahead, cut corners when no one was looking, or prioritized our own interests over others. It's human nature. The difference is that the worst people, the ones we label as ruthless or immoral, simply do it on a larger scale with higher stakes. They've mastered the art of power, and in doing so, they've unlocked the hidden logic that governs our world. Success often goes to those who are willing to play the game without rules. But is this the whole story? Is power truly the only currency that matters? Or is there something deeper, something more enduring, that the ruthless overlook in their quest for dominance? Let's return to Nietzsche. While he championed the will to power, he also envisioned a different kind of strength, one that transcends mere dominance. He spoke of the Übermensch, often translated as the Superman or Overman, a figure who creates their own values, who rises above the herd mentality and lives authentically. The Übermensch isn't just a tyrant or a conqueror, they're a creator, a visionary, someone who shapes the world not through brute force but through the power of their ideas and their character. This is where the tension lies. The worst people may succeed by wielding power ruthlessly, but they often fail to achieve something greater: legacy, meaning, fulfillment. They build empires of dust, while the true visionaries build cathedrals of thought that stand the test of time. Think of figures like Gandhi, who wielded power through nonviolence, or Mandela, who transformed a nation not with a sword, but with forgiveness. These are the ones who transcend the game, who succeed not by breaking the rules, but by rewriting them. And yet, even here, the question lingers. Why do the worst people still seem to win so often? Why does the game reward them, even if their victories are hollow? Perhaps it's because the game itself is broken. Society, for all its progress, is still a battlefield where the sharpest elbows get the spoils. We've built systems, political, economic, social, that incentivize short-term gains over long-term vision, that value wealth over wisdom, that celebrate the loudest voices over the wisest. The worst people succeed because they've learned to exploit these flaws, to hack the system for their own benefit. But here's the twist. The system isn't the world. It's a construct, a set of rules we've agreed to play by, and like any game, it can be changed. The hidden logic of the world isn't set in stone, it's shaped by those who dare to challenge it, who refuse to accept that ruthlessness is the only path to success. So where does that leave us? If the worst people succeed by playing a broken game, what's the alternative? Do we join them, abandoning our values for a shot at the throne, or do we reject the game entirely, retreating into the shadows? Neither. The answer lies in mastering the game without becoming its prisoner. It's about understanding the logic of power, learning its rules, and wielding it with purpose, your purpose. It's about recognizing that success isn't just about winning, It's about defining what victory means to you. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into the psychology of power and the paradoxes of success. We'll explore why the ruthless often stumble in the long run and how you can navigate this world without losing your soul. But for now, remember this: the worst people may succeed, but their victories are often illusions. True power lies not in domination, but in creation, not in breaking the rules, but in transcending them. Power is a potent force, and for some is driven by social dominance orientation, SDO, a trait where individuals support hierarchical structures and seek to dominate research indicates that those high in SDO are often more successful in environments like business or politics, where power and influence are key. This drive allows them to climb ladders quickly, exploiting systems for personal gain. Closely related are the dark triad traits: narcissism, psychopathy, and machiavellianism, characterized by a lack of empathy and a focus on self-interest. Studies show these traits can predict higher salaries and leadership positions as they enable ruthless strategies in cutthroat settings. However, this success often comes at the cost of strained relationships and lower subordinate well-being. Historical illustrations. Historical figures like Ivan the Terrible, who consolidated power through cruelty but ended in isolation, and Napoleon Bonaparte, whose conquest led to exile, exemplify how ruthlessness can yield initial success but falter. Long-term modern examples like Steve Jobs show similar patterns. Visionary success with interpersonal challenges, highlighting the brittle nature of such achievements. Moral disengagement and justification. How do these individuals rationalize their actions? Moral disengagement, a process where people convince themselves that unethical behavior is acceptable, plays a key role. Mechanisms include moral justification and dehumanization, allowing them to act without guilt. This enables short-term gains but can lead to legal repercussions or loss of trust over time. The paradox. The paradox is clear. While ruthless individuals may achieve quick success, it's often unsustainable. They may face backlash, as seen with figures like Stalin, whose policies caused millions of deaths and left a legacy of fear. In contrast, ethical individuals might progress slower but build lasting, fulfilling careers, suggesting a trade-off between speed and sustainability. This section provides a comprehensive exploration of why individuals considered worst due to their ruthlessness often succeed initially, delving into psychological mechanisms, historical examples, and the long-term consequences of their actions. The analysis builds on the narrative from Part 1, which introduced Nietzsche's philosophy and the will to power, and now focuses on the psychological underpinnings and practical implications. Psychological foundations, social dominance orientation, and the dark triad. The psychology of power is central to understanding why ruthless individuals succeed. Social dominance orientation, SDO, is a personality trait measuring an individual's support for social hierarchy and desire for their in-group to dominate out-groups. Research suggests that people high in SDO are more likely to thrive in competitive environments, such as business or politics, where power dynamics are pronounced. For instance, studies indicate that high SDO correlates with career choices that align with hierarchical structures, potentially leading to faster advancement. Closely linked to SDO are the dark triad traits, narcissism, psychopathy, and machiavellianism, which are characterized by a lack of empathy, manipulativeness, and a focus on self-interest. These traits are often subclinical but can significantly influence behavior in professional settings. A study published in Emerald Insight found that the dark triad provides incremental predictive value for objective career success, such as salary and leadership positions, beyond the big five personality traits. For example, narcissism, with its inflated self-importance, can lead to higher visibility and promotion opportunities, while Machiavellianism's strategic deceit can secure short-term gains. However, this success is not without costs. Research also shows that subordinates of leaders high in dark triad traits, particularly psychopathy and Machiavellianism, report lower job satisfaction and well-being, suggesting that while these individuals may climb quickly, they often erode the trust and morale necessary for long-term stability. The bright and dark sides of leaders' dark triad traits. Effects on subordinates' career success and well-being. Science Direct. Historical and modern examples. Initial success and eventual consequences. To illustrate, consider historical figures who embodied these traits and achieved initial success but faced significant consequences. Ivan the Terrible, the first Tsar of Russia, consolidated power through paranoia and cruelty, expanding his territory but ending his reign in isolation, with his dynasty nearly collapsing after his death. Similarly, Napoleon Bonaparte's military genius led to vast conquests, but his ambition resulted in defeat at Waterloo and exile, highlighting the fragility of ruthless success. Modern examples include Steve Jobs, whose demanding and sometimes ruthless leadership style at Apple drove innovation and success, yet strained interpersonal relationships, as noted in biographies and media reports. These cases underscore that while ruthlessness can yield rapid gains, it often leads to isolation, legal challenges, or reputational damage, undermining long-term achievements. Moral disengagement, justifying unethical behavior. A critical mechanism enabling this behavior is moral disengagement, a process where individuals convince themselves that their actions, which violate ethical standards, are acceptable. Psychologist Albert Bandura identified 8 cognitive mechanisms, including moral justification, believing the action serves a greater good, euphemistic labeling, using less severe language, for example, collateral damage for civilian deaths, and dehumanization. For instance, a corporate executive might justify layoffs as streamlining operations to focus on profitability, ignoring the human cost. Research shows that moral disengagement is linked to aggressive and antisocial behavior, allowing individuals to engage in unethical acts without guilt. This process is particularly prevalent in high-stakes environments where competition is fierce, enabling the worst people to rationalize their actions and achieve short-term success. However, this disengagement can lead to long-term consequences, such as legal repercussions or loss of trust, as seen with figures like Joseph Stalin, whose policies caused millions of deaths and left a legacy of fear. The paradox of success, short-term gains versus long-term costs. The paradox lies in the trade-off between short-term gains and long-term sustainability. Ruthless individuals may achieve quick success by exploiting systems, taking risks, and bending rules, but this often comes at the cost of trust, relationships, and ethical foundations. For example, a study on CEOs with dark triad traits found they positively affect external performance indicators like breakthrough sales, but negatively impact internal performance, such as organizational morale. This suggests that while they may win battles, they often lose the war, as their empires crumble under the weight of distrust and backlash. In contrast, individuals who build success on integrity and ethical behavior may progress more slowly but create lasting, fulfilling careers. Research on the Big Five personality traits shows that conscientiousness and emotional stability are strong predictors of long-term career success, suggesting that ethical, stable individuals build sustainable paths. This highlights attention, speed versus sustainability, immediate gains versus enduring legacy, redefining success, a values-based approach to navigate this world without losing your soul. Start by redefining success. Success isn't just about amassing wealth or power. It's about living a life aligned with your values, building meaningful relationships, and making a positive impact. Research on the Big Five personality traits shows that conscientiousness and emotional stability are strong predictors of long-term career success, suggesting that ethical, stable individuals build sustainable paths. A study published in the Journal of Applied Psychology found that employees who align their work with personal values experience higher job satisfaction and commitment, leading to better performance over time, highlighting the importance of value alignment for sustainable success. Define your core beliefs and principles. What do you stand for? This clarity helps you make decisions aligned with those values, even when the path is tough, avoiding the traps of moral disengagement. Practical strategies for ethical success. Focus on a long-term vision, prioritizing sustainable growth over quick wins. Ruthless individuals might climb fast, but their success is often short-lived, as seen with figures like Ivan the Terrible and Napoleon Bonaparte. Building something lasting takes time, patience, and perseverance. Investing in ethical practices that foster trust and resilience. For example, consider the story of the tortoise and the hare. The hare, representing the ruthless individual, sprints ahead but ultimately loses the race due to complacency, while the tortoise, representing steady, ethical progress, plods along but crosses the finish line first. In business, companies that prioritize long-term sustainability, like Unilever or Interface, have shown that ethical practices can lead to both financial success and positive social impact, contrasting with the short-term gains of ruthless leaders who face eventual consequences. Build genuine relationships, both personally and professionally, as trust is the currency of the future. People remember those who treat them with respect and integrity, and these connections will support you through challenges, unlike the isolation faced by ruthless leaders. Research on organizational behavior suggests that trust is essential for leadership, with employees and followers more likely to support leaders they trust, leading to better team performance and loyalty. Invest time in building meaningful connections, and you'll find that these relationships are invaluable in times of need. Practice ethical leadership, drawing inspiration from figures like Mahatma Gandhi, who achieved great things through nonviolence, or Martin Luther King Jr., who advanced civil rights through moral persuasion. In the business world, companies like Patagonia, founded on environmental sustainability, and Tom's Shoes, known for its one-for-one giving model, demonstrate that ethical practices can be successful and profitable. Ethical leaders inspire others to follow suit, creating a culture of integrity within their organizations or communities, attracting like-minded individuals who share your values, creating a supportive environment for growth. Embrace Stoic philosophy, which teaches focusing on what you can control, your actions and responses, and accepting what you can't, helping you stay resilient in the face of adversity and avoid the traps of anger, envy, and greed. This mindset shift is crucial. Understand that the system might be rigged, but you don't have to play by its rules. Create your own path, one that reflects your values and leads to a more fulfilling life, as Stoicism encourages viewing obstacles as opportunities for growth and maintaining inner peace. Real-world examples and comparative analysis. To illustrate, consider real-world examples. Howard Schultz of Starbucks built a global brand by focusing on creating a great customer experience and treating employees well, contrasting with Steve Jobs' demanding style, which drove innovation but strained relationships. Warren Buffett, known for his ethical, long-term investment approach, exemplifies success through integrity, with Berkshire Hathaway seeing steady growth over decades, while Sheryl Sandberg, former COO of Facebook, advocated for women's rights and workplace equality, showing success and integrity can coexist. In a world that often seems to reward the ruthless, it's easy to feel discouraged. But remember, the worst people might succeed in the short term, but their victories are hollow. True success comes from living a life of purpose, integrity, and meaning, as seen with ethical leaders who build lasting legacies. Don't compromise your values for a quick win. Stay true to yourself. Build your empire on solid ground, and you'll find that success, when achieved the right way, is the most rewarding. If you found this video insightful, please like, share, and subscribe for more content on personal growth and philosophy. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments below. What are your thoughts on this topic? How do you stay true to your values in a competitive world?